Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, folks. Email away George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, this is Muscle Talk episode 245, and we're not going to do a discussion. We're having an interview. Every so often, I like to do interviews with ladies that sport of bodybuilding to share their stories and to give a perspective of what it takes to be a woman in the sport of, as I often call it, muscle masculinity. So I have a little lady. She's sitting right here in the studio, and we're going to bring her in. We have here the lovely IFBB pro, Mrs. Rebecca Woody.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Rebecca Woody. Yeah, Woody. I, I know. Your kids probably had a hard time when you had that last name
I
growing up.
do. That's my married name. My actual maiden name is Roybal, Roybal. I'm
Oh,
Hispanic. Yes.
¿Cómo
Yes.
estás?
Muy bien. My
Yeah.
husband is as blonde could be, and he's much younger than me, about 12 years.
So you guys have a young Thundercat, huh? Yeah, you got because especially when women, I think you hit your strides later in life, and it's best to have. You don't want no broke down old man. I'm 50. I'm a broke down old man already. So Miss Woody is an IFB pro. She last competed in 2024, and she earned a pro card in 2022. Now she's been competing over 30 years, meaning she was competing in the era of women's bodybuilding where there was legends like people like Corey Everson,
Yes.
also Linda Murray, Bev Francis. I mean, just amazing ladies. And she's also a mother, grandmother, and great grandma.
Yes, I am.
Wow. Well, my mother was about the same age as you when she was hitting up that great grandma level. So we're gonna talk to her and see what she's up to and share her story, how she got started in sport, as I call it, muscle masculinity. So, ma'am, please share your story.
Okay. Well, I believe I unfortunately had a divorce, and I was kind of on my own. I had 3 kids at home, and my brother was having an issue with his wife, so he moved in with me. And he moved all of his. He was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he moved all of his equipment, bench press, some weights, a bag that you had, boxing bag, and he would have me come downstairs every morning and work out with him before he went to work. And I got into this habit of 3 months him being there, and one day he told me, "Sis, I'm going to move out. Thank you. I appreciate you having me here. It helped me." He left. And the next morning, I had a cup of coffee and went downstairs, and I realized all of his equipment was gone. And I wanted to continue. So I just looked for a gym and I started working out. I met people like the women that you had just mentioned, plus Kim Shavisky. She's in Springfield, Missouri. We chat every once in a while. She more or less has helped me quite a bit, but I had some wonderful people that were ahead of me that I was looking up to, that you may or may not even heard of them. It's other people I saw and admired. They were so much younger than me, and here I was, the old lady in the gym, 32 years old, and these women were in their early 20s, and they were competing. And they decided one day to approach me and said, "You should probably try to compete next year. Give yourself another year of working out." And I was about 32 years old, and I noticed that my joints were hurting, and I thought, well, maybe I'm overdoing it. But I got really bad, and I went to the doctor. The doctor sent me to a rheumatologist. I don't have arthritis. What I have is rheumatoid arthritis, which is a debilitating disease, and it will eventually cripple you. And so far, the doctor said before HIPAA, there's a law like HIPAA that the doctors cannot show records to another patient. So they were showing my pictures before HIPAA. These men would come in and they say, I can't fish, I can't play tennis, I hurt. And the doctor would say, bring in Rebecca's folder. And they would show my pictures of me in bodybuilding or working out. And he said, there's no excuse for trying, but everyone's pain level is different. And I learned to manage my pain. I taken quite a bit of medication. I'm on a drug called Humira. I give myself a shot every other week. You see it on TV. And it has put me in remission. And I've been fortunate with that. And I continue to work out. Mind you, I did powerlifting for a while. My very first 2 years, I powerlift. I have a couple of trophies for powerlifting. I was so tiny, but I could squat like 235, and I was just a little bitty woman. My bench sucked, but my deadlift was just as good as my squat. So I did okay. I was get laughed at by these women. They were huge women, kind of like Amanda, that you I believe you interviewed my friend Amanda, and they were big women. But because you weigh in, and it depends on how much you can press or squat, that's what makes the difference in the outcome. And I would come home with the trophy, not first, maybe third and fourth, but I got one. Then I don't know. I had some gentlemen that were coaches at the gym. They wanted to train me and get me ready for contests, more serious, like nationals. And I did pretty well. I think it was in, I want to guess this, 1991. They opened up Masters Nationals, and I was told by several people to try to go and do Masters National. It was 40 and over. And at that time, it was only bodybuilding. There wasn't any of these other categories, only bodybuilding. And they had a 40 and over open. And I did that because I just turned 40, and I won my lightweight class. And then I went out with the middle and the, what they called it, heavyweight. And I didn't win that, but at least I won the lightweight class. And I kind of gave it up for just about 3 or 4 years of competition. And then I found myself wanting to go back because I noticed that nationals was the thing to do. And I just decided to aim for that. And I continued for quite a long time until I got my pro card. I never gave up. I was determined to at least get a pro card. It didn't matter if I was 80 or 90, but I got it. So I feel like I went, for a goal, and I achieved it. So never give up. That's what I think. Never give up.
Well, like I said, you have an amazing story what you go through. Especially I remember my brother he was like a football star here in our hometown, and we thought how I got into bodybuilding because he used to collect the muscle magazines, especially around the '80s when popular cartoons were there, were Thundercats and He-Man, the muscle cartoon characters, and then just look at these bodies how they transform, like guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lee Haney, Lila Brada, Samir Banut. And then, like I said, seeing y'all ladies, like people like I said, Corey Everson and Linda Murray and Kim Javesky, who is the 4-time Miss Olympia. She has the only woman who has beaten Linda Murray during her career is Miss Olympia. And
That's right.
yeah, she beat it twice. I mean, I was kind of, and it's just what you've been through, your life, raising your family, having your kids. Is your brother still around?
Yes, my brother's still around. He's not boxing anymore, but he's real. He always makes comments about me doing as well as I've done. Yes.
Well, that's good. It's his fault because you know what you had to you going down in the basement. He's hitting the heavy bag and he got you into it. I mean, I think everybody finds their way, and I do I do some content on women combat sports. I've known some ladies who have fought and did like boxing and other sports, and later move on to bodybuilding because I think there's so much to it. So, folks,
Yes.
as she mentioned earlier, a young lady that I interviewed a while back who is planning on making her pro debut this year, and that is the lovely Miss Amanda Santos. And there
That's
she
right.
is. I mean, we're talking, looks like David and Goliath.
She's a hoot. I love her so much. She is so, I don't want to use a bad word, but she's so damn strong. She really is. And she is the sweetest woman I have ever met in a long time. I love to hear her talk with her accent. Um, she's, I just love her to pieces. I just do. I just love her to pieces.
Yeah, I
She
think
told me you would be calling me.
well, like I said again, I when I find people, this channel is about me giving opportunity for ladies like yourself who's been in this game, who are understand the aspects of the sport. Like you've been competing at least over 30 years. You know, when back when there was this again, it was only just women's bodybuilding, and then the other divisions came along a little bit later. And your first show, what was that experience like for you? Because you got to think about it. You're on the stage, you're halfway butt naked, you got baby oil all over you and tanning. I mean, you know,
Well, I tell you what, I used to teach dance and I did a lot of tap dancing. I was on stage as a little girl, singing and dancing. So being on stage was not a big deal for me. Um, I remember at the time, the man I'm married to now, Steve Woody, he come to watch and he said he couldn't believe that it was like, I've been there 100 times. Well, I was never nervous, and I never have been nervous to be in front of people. I was lucky to have so many that had already gone to the nationals, that were already Olympic champions coming to help me. So they were teaching me how to pose correctly, how to, back then, you can be very artistic with your music, with your posing. And I did put some of my dance moves in it, nothing really crazy, but you can move very gracefully and different before you get into a pose. So I enjoyed doing that. To this day, I still choreograph for men and women. Now there's so many different categories. There's bikini, there's figure, there's wellness. They're all over the place now. And so I have kept up with that. When there was only bodybuilding, I grew into every category, and I was fortunate to teach. I was also very fortunate. The only reason I believe I got my pro card was through Flex Gym, where I go. The owner is Jason May, and he too is an IFBB pro. And I mean, he looks like the guy that's as big as from the Green Mile. He's huge, and he came and told me he'd like to get me on the stage. And he felt like, he was honest with me. I feel like I can get you a pro card if you just do as I say. He was tough. I could never use the excuse, I'm an old lady. He said, I don't want to hear about it. He was tough. And because he was tough, I loved him more for it. And he got me where I am today.
well, that's good because I think it's good to have a relationship with a good coach who understands and still, and also not going back and say, "Oh, I'm an old lady, I can't." Nah, grandma, you got to push that weight. You got to do. You got to do. You got to build
He
that
was
muscle. You can't. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
was tough, but there's something smart about him. He could come out with a smart mouth, but he always knew kind of where I was. He was really tuned into that.
Yeah, that's good. We have some comments here. Shout out to my man KL the Warner coming through. Shout, he says, Muscle Talk Monday time. Thank you, brother. Also, he says this. He says, good evening. Good evening to you. Also, we have here Joshua Simpkins. His first time. He says, what's good? Not much, brother. Welcome. Also, again, from my man KL, he says this. He says, I was most likely in high school when she started competing. Uh, I I think I
That's
was
all right.
maybe I was in middle school when she started competing, but I think I'm older than you, KL. You had to be in elementary school when she started. So yeah, and you said again you have how many? How old are your kids? How many you have?
I have three children. I have seven grandkids, and I just got a great grandchild. So
Oh,
yeah, so I've been lucky. I've had several of my grandkids work out with me. Um, of course, they're busy with their school and they go in and out. But I have one grandson by the name of Grant. He was working out with me. Now he's got all these weights at his house, and he looks amazing. I told him, you look good enough that you can be a in team competition on stage. And I think it might play around in his head every once in a while, but I don't want to force him. It should be something that you want to do.
yeah, that's good. I think that's one thing, especially with young people. You need to be really find your own way. And think about it. You earned your pro card at Teen Collegiate back in 2022. That was something. That'd be second generation to do that. We have here a comment from a man, Joshua Hamilton, coming through. He says, "Hi, Facebook friend. Hi, either you or me. I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
you look sound.
yeah. Also, we have here from Nicole Strauss. Hey, Nicole. It says, "Hey." Also, we have here. This is from a man, KL. He says, "How do you feel about these different divisions out now compared to bodybuilding when you started?" Like, I just recently had an interview with a young lady she's a fit model competitor, and here's my stance on the division. Hop! I'm I'm not a fan of it, but I respect her passion for bodybuilding. So
Yes.
you said you kind of roll with the punches when the other divisions coming in. Like, what's
Yes, and I was an NPC judge, and then I was with GBO, and now I'm with a natural federation because they're my friends. They used to compete with us NPC, but they went a different way, and they had their own federation, WNBB. I thought they needed help with judging. And like I said, I was judging NPC when it was real early, like in the 90s. And it just became too much for me working out, raising kids, judging. I kind of gave up the judging, but I do stay with the natural contests only because they're my good friends and I love them to pieces. That they are doing something for there's a place for everyone to do NPC or natural. And some of these naturals look amazing. And I know some of these naturals cross over into doing NPC because it's just God gave them, a gift, a wonderful physique. And of course, it depends on what category they go into. Speaking of categories, I watch them start out with figure, and then before you know it, we're doing women's physique and bodybuilding and women's physique. Then there was figure. Then we went into bikini. Now it's wellness. Then there's fit body. Now there's model. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, that's the new one they started it this year. Fit model,
Yes,
where it's supposed to be a throwback to bikini when it first
yes,
started. About, I think about around about 2010, 2012. I think it was to be Ashley. What's the name? I think it was supposed to be the standard because she was the first,
yes.
Miss Olympia bikini competitor. I feel like this is a division that's, especially from my standpoint, how long I've been following bodybuilding. Like, bodybuilding was first, fitness came along, figure spin off of fitness. Then here come bikini because they wanted something more feminine and traditional. And then
Right,
because they didn't like how women's bodybuilding was going, they started a physique division, supposed to be more, you know, um, more of aesthetic, athletic build, like
right.
classic Linda Murray. But if you look at the women now, like Amanda, she competed at national, got a pro card. She was doing women's bodybuilding and physique. She took second in her class, but because they don't give pro cards in second place in the nationals, but they do give it at the in women's physique. You
You're
know,
right.
it's just, I think the thing is that as you're a judge, you understand that as amateurs, you can cross over so easily. But fit model, there's no crossover. But the thing is, I feel like it's going to evolve like the other divisions and end up, you're gonna see, you seen figure girls looking like physique competitors. You seen
Oh
bikini
yeah.
girls looking like figure girls. And then a division like wellness, when it came in, it's supposed to be very soft feminine, but now a lot of these girls are either work from either bikini, physique, or figure.
Yes, exactly. And we see some of the figure, well, how do I say this? Bikini girls will over into wellness, some will cross over into figure. And it's like they're losing what they're looking for some of the times. And I find it easy to judge for me, but because I have six other people next to me doesn't necessarily mean they see what I see. And it makes for judging criteria. You have it in front of you, but sometimes you don't look at the criteria. You're looking at somebody that's got an amazing physique, but maybe they don't belong in that category. And I've seen some where they win both categories, figure and women's physique or bikini and wellness. There's a difference in wellness, I guarantee you. It has to do with those glutes and legs. And bikini to me is much more a smaller woman, but with shapely legs, great glutes. She's got some cap on her shoulders, but I think it just gets confusing after a while. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great judge, but I watched this just, just change through over the years. And I have my own ideas what a true bikini is, what's a figure, what's, wellness. And I think that's kind of where we have different arguments or different judging on at the table.
See, yeah, that's the problem. I think the judges need to. We create a division and set the criteria to it, but then because you can cross over so easily, it's just, I don't know. Maybe like I said, I'm an outsider, but from what I'm seeing of it, it's getting to the point where it's getting confusing. We have a comment from Joshua Simpkins. He says this. He says, "That's awesome. Thank you, brother." He said, So, folks, while we have her here, what we're going to do is this. We're going to jump to in her social media. You can follow her on the IG, and you want to check her out. Reach out to her because I have the links are in the description of this live stream. But guys out there, I'm going to tell you this. This is a lovely lady. This is somebody's wife, mother, grandmother, great grandmother. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you this because you know what? She's not too much older. My mother, when she passed, she was like your age. My mother was like 78 when she passed.
Sorry,
just 76, just a couple of years. But you know what? I'm gonna think like my mama. If y'all seen a deep pics, I'm whooping your ass. I am. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna find you, whoever you are. You're gonna you know what? I have to be the other guy. I have to come out and because this is just me. I just want to. I'm into chaos and energy. And you know what? I'm gonna use my favorite things, dirt and gasoline. I'm sorry, ma'am. He gets a little excitable when he comes out. So, folks, you want to follow the lovely Miss Rebecca? Just jump into her IG and also be respectful and appreciate what she has done and been through as a woman in the sport of bodybuilding. So here we are, pop into your IG here. And looking over here. Here it is with the little baby. Is that the great grandbaby?
Right.
It's just so cute. I have my great nieces and nephews are pretty much on their teenage years now. So, but I got my youngest nephew. He's gonna have another one. I think it's gonna be his 12th or 13th coming sometime soon. Yeah,
that's sweet.
He's young. Yeah, and here she is with Amanda again. And when did y'all two meet?
What did you say?
When did you and Amanda meet?
Oh my gosh, we've known each other for almost coming up 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. Who's the gentleman behind you?
He's a sweetheart. He's got a name called Gorilla, but he has lost quite a bit of weight, and was showing me just how much weight he's losing. He's trimming down. He's looking good. I have a friend by the name of Tyran in there. Tyran is a natural bodybuilder. He's a beautiful man. Yep, that's him. There's Tyran. He's a sweetheart of a man. Oh, and that's Nick. Nick is another guy I've trained. Oh, those are my family. That's my husband and I in 1980, 86. No, not 80. Yeah, maybe it was 87, 88. There he is to the right. Just different people love to take. That's me on the left with my husband. That's way back, in the 80s, mid 80s.
Oh, yeah, like I said, and y'all been together for how long?
See, oh God, my husband's going to kill me because I can't remember when we got married. We've been married. We have been married for over 30 years. I know that, maybe 32.
Oh, like I said, he's been there with you as you both were in bodybuilding together at one point.
Oh, yes.
Doing mixed couple posing because that was very popular. I think, yeah, because remember Diane Dennis and her, who was her? Kevin. What was Kevin's last name? I forgot. They used to be very popular in the.
She was like that right.
she was like you. She was a mother, like in her 30s. She had like 4 kids,
Yes.
and competing by. I think she's a
Oh,
beautiful
to
woman,
be on
Diamond Dennis.
stage with 4 or 5 couples, it was so fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think they don't do too much here in the States, but I think they still
No.
do it in Europe. But you know what?
Oh,
I
I'm
know.
jealous. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I know a couple who are they actually live in the States. They're Russian, and they pose together
That
sometimes.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Lisa Lewis right there, that lady that's yes,
Oh my
Lisa
God, I
Lewis.
love Lucy Lewis. Oh my God,
Yes.
I would.
Um,
I a while back. I'm really cool. Couple ladies that used to compete back in the day with her. Sue Price and Nancy Lewis. Me and Nancy still are good friends.
well, Lisa used to come to my house all the time. She took my music, would take my routine, and she would take it to the nationals. She was something else.
She was such beautiful physique.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
absolutely.
and this is where you earned your pro card at the
That's
Team
right.
Collegiate. What was that feeling like when they
Oh
told
my
you
God.
you're IFBB
Um,
pro?
I to be that, I mean, after all these years trying and trying, I was always out there with such big women, and I was never upset because I always knew where I stood. I mean, these women, some of them had 50 pounds over me and 75 pounds. I mean, what do you expect? But I always walked away with the trophy. And that's what was so mind boggling for me. I could get past some of these women. And to this day, I can't figure out why, but I did, and that was okay. I'm thankful
Yeah,
to God for that. Like right
yeah.
there, I mean, these women were bigger than me. This was the first nationals, and I won the very first nationals that was um, given that year.
That's pretty good. It's amazing. This is like I said. This is like a stroll down memory lane because, like I said, I've been a
Yes,
fan
it
of bodybuilding
is.
for a long time. Your ladies who have competed and done what you've done. And here's
There's
another
my
gentleman.
grandson. Yeah. Oh,
Where you?
that's another one. He lives in Texas and he comes up to see me every once in a while. He talks to me every day, sends me a message every day. And he's a
Uh,
natural competitor. He's a very sweet man. Um, there's my grandson, Grant. He's the one that lifts weights now. He looks bigger now than he ever did. There's my whole family. We get together once a year and make tamales. I'm of Mexican descent, so we do that once a year. We make tamales all together, all the women. That's my granddaughter and daughter.
Feliz Navidad. I'll tell you that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good that people really like to be around you and respect what you have done in your career as a bodybuilder. Because I said again, I often talk to you ladies, this is tough sport to be in, especially for a woman, especially for a woman with
Yes,
children. Because raising a family, competing, bodybuilding is not a very lucrative sport.
that's right.
If you are the lucky few who can make a living out of it, everybody else is just, you're just trying to, steal Peter to pay Paul.
You're right. You're right. I have a room, an extra room downstairs, and it's got humongous glass up against the wall. And I still teach every category of bodybuilding to men, women, teens. Um, I can put a routine together for them. It's been easy for me, very easy, and I thank God every day that I could still move around enough to teach.
you know
Well,
god God really looks out for the ones that we are doing good work like you're doing. And I think, like I said, your story about how you got into it, dealing with all things involved with it, and see how the sport has grown. Now, your last show was the uh World Masters Championships. That was in 2024. And what was that feeling like, when you made your pro debut?
oh my God. Um, to me, it just felt like any other competition, but I knew that this was probably going to be my last. Um, I had last year 2 operations on my ankle, um, and I still made it to compete. I didn't think I could. My 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 coach said you're going to make it, and he would push me every week He would meet me every week, and I would fill in the rest of the days working out. But that push once a week, and he did my diet plan real good. Um, I wanted to do good for him because he still believed in me after being all these years. I mean, he's trained so many beautiful men and women, and here he is stuck with an old lady. And I thought maybe but he gave me his all, and I knew that, and I wanted to do good for him, not only for myself, but for him, the effort that he put in me.
Well, like I said, it's good that he really saw the potential in you, even at your age,
Yes,
And most people, when you don't think about it, that women like you are, if you, I don't usually ask the ladies' age. I'm a Southern gentleman, man. We don't do that. But
I
if you
don't
mind,
mind.
if you mind sharing it with people, for people to know, how old are you?
I am 76 years old. My birthday's Cinco de Mayo. How lucky can you be being Hispanic, Cinco de Mayo? And yes, so I am 76, and I don't feel 76. I know in my head, and I feel fortunate. Sometimes when I'm at the gym, I see uh, men and women that are a little younger than me, but you don't know what their lifestyle is, if how their health is. But I always thank God that I'm still at the gym working out, and I can do what I do, um, and have the energy to help pose people if they want it. I used to train quite a bit. I kind of gave up a little bit on that. I'd rather not do that anymore because that starts to put me into the gym pushing and helping people a little more, and it's harder on my joints. I want to save it. I sound a little bit like, I'm selfish, but I want to save it for myself.
Well, nothing wrong about being selfish. Just you only have one life, and you should be able to enjoy it. I would say if you ever think about it, run your own. A lot of bodybuilders do run their own business. You can hire people. You can still be a coach.
That's true.
One thing I think was like, as you know, I said earlier, my mother passed. She had gotten the virus, and that's how she passed because she was sick
Yes,
for a long time. And with the pandemic hit, everybody started doing a lot more online and like video, like something like this. This is how I started. Well, I was always starting to do StreamYard before the pandemic hit, but this is a way a lot of people can talk because back in the day, you had to be there with your client, but
yeah,
a lot of trainers and coaches do like video and conferences and like that. I mean, it's something you could do. You don't have to be active. And if people like someone like Amanda, who probably
yeah.
she can help out, or anybody else who will be interested in, and as long as you can pay him a little bit on the side and make some
Yes,
living for himself, you have a good career. Like I wear my shirt today. It's my favorite movie.
I love that shirt.
Yeah,
I've been
uh,
looking at it.
yeah. It's I'm in my prime, so I had to wear it for you. I'm not much of my prime like I used to be because at one point, like I said, when I was taking my mom after she passed, I was almost 500 pounds. I'm
Oh, it's
honest to tell
hard.
you that. And then I started now to take care of myself. Right now, I'm sitting at 405, and it's tough because the thing about it, that one thing about bodybuilding is food is very important. As your
Yes,
process, you're growing. You can't eat everything. I'm not saying I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder, but I do try to be smart.
yes, I understand totally. I read something one day that about men who lose their mother. It's harder on a man that loses their mother because there's some kind of a connection. Who loves you the most? It's not your wife that loves you the most. It's your mother that loves you the most. I mean, if you think about it. So when you lose a mother, I mean, it's worse than losing a wife. And I heard, or they wrote, that it's as hard as losing a child when you lose your mother. And I
Well,
know that from a fact. My mother lived to be 94, and I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't think of her.
my mother, she lost three children before she passed. I had
Oh,
a brother. He was born. He was stillborn. Then my oldest brother James, which I talked about earlier, he died like 22 years ago. And then there's my sister Mary. She died about at least about 8 years ago. But it's just I guess I still have a. I have two older brothers. I have two older sisters. I have an older brother. I have a younger brother. And I have another sister. That's my father's daughter. My older brother is my father's daughter, but he grew up. He's my father's son, but he grew up around with us, and I was a lot closer to
yes.
him. My parents were together for 55 years, even though my dad was living the last 30 of it in Jersey, where we're still in North Carolina. And my mother loved my father, even though they just didn't get along
Yeah.
together because they got married young. She was like 17, 16 when she had my older
Oh
sister.
my. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how it is, especially coming from a Hispanic background, how you know traditionally how you get married young and you have your kids, and
Oh
then
yes.
what's there to do after that? Because
Right.
your husband eventually broke up.
Yes, absolutely. I totally understand that.
Anyway, one thing I talk about bodybuilding is how people have their prejudice against it. How they look at it is it's everybody's on steroids and they're like honors and but I keep saying this from the conversations I have with quite a few ladies and gentlemen in the sport. Steroids are only a small factor to it. It's used for recovery. And we talked about early natural bodybuilders, like the lady Nicole Straussing. She's a natural bodybuilder, she's
Yes.
OCB pro, and it's a different look between the naturals and the more enhanced competitors. But I think naturals really get more attention. I know a while back the Pittsburgh Pro just did a natural pro qualifier. I think there's a
Yes.
show, the Ben Weeder, that's coming up. I think in November. That's a all natural show, but still, people still like see the big freaky guys.
Yes, they still do. They still do. I have to because I'm on Humira. I'm forced to take blood work every 6 weeks. It's to check the Humira. But also, my doctor would tell me if I see anything else in there, you're going to get in a lot of trouble from me. You're going to get a spanking from me. Well, I've been on Humira. Let's see, since I was probably 50, and I I go every 6 weeks, get my blood work. He always can tell when I'm getting ready. He says, your veins, nobody has veins like you. He goes, women and men that come in here, no one's got veins like you because you work out. And he says, we can always find that needle to draw your blood, to go check it. And I've never been scolded all these years.
Well, with me, we have this bad issue in our family. We have running veins. Sometimes you have to. It takes a while for them to find a spot, and you'll be all over the place. Say, hey, you didn't have to come in with somebody who's like the professional, like come in and say, yeah, hey,
Yes.
that's pretty good. But yeah, I think this is the thing about bodybuilding. It's a process. And understand, and I have talked to people say about trusting the process, but you got to understand the process before you trust it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're so right. And I know of some women that have taken, and they're still lovely, but I know some that have gone over, and I mean over for the years and years and years. I'm not talking about just, a short period. I'm talking about many years. And it does change them dramatically. And I know of one lady, I can't mention her name, but she's forever sorry that she took it to that point because she does look masculine. It's been hard on her face. And she says it's been hard on her body too, because I guess it's hard on your joints when you
Yeah,
overdo it.
yeah, I know there's some women there. Yeah, there's one lady. I think she's a Russian competitor. She's just huge. She's like muscle on top of muscle, And then there's those ones that maintain both the muscle and femininity. Like one person I'm going to pull up here. I'm a fan of hers, and that is the lovely Andrea
Oh,
Shaw. Oh my God, I
she's beautiful.
she is. She's just amazing. I remember I'm always gonna do this. Another friend of mine, she's also Latina. She's from Texas. Her name is Eunice. She runs her own company, Bad Rap. And
Yes.
Eunice was I always bring this out because as the
Oh.
other guy says, if you're getting something, never do it for free. And she was at the Olympia in 2023 when it was in Orlando. This is the last issue of Muscle Development. I still have some old ones in stock with my comics and stuff I collected. And Andrea's in the
Look how
cover.
gorgeous.
She's beautiful. Her physique is crazy. She surpasses some of the ladies. And Eunice approached her and she autographed this for me.
Oh, that is awesome.
And
That is awesome.
this is what keeps me doing this, because sometimes some of y'all ladies can be a pain in the ass.
And yes,
Um, I mean, I reach out to some
you're right.
ladies, say, hey, I don't, but the thing is,
Yes,
who is talking to you? Who's talking about you? It's only a handful of people that actually talk about your lady, because everybody's more interested, as I call them,
exactly.
everybody's more interested in the divisions. I call them the banana hammocks, boy shorts divisions. That's the men's open and men's classic and the men's bikini. I mean, men's physique, whatever. But you
Yes,
know what? If it wasn't for women's bodybuilding, the other division wouldn't exist. You know, and even though I'm not a big fan, as I call them, the teenage divisions, that's wellness and
that's
bikini. You know, but
you're right.
I have interviewed some ladies because I'm going to be interviewing a lady who's a wellness competitor this weekend. I interviewed a lady who did fit model yesterday. It's
Oh,
about getting the understanding what it is to be a athlete. Like when you're training, you know, even though when you were competing in training, what was that thing you feel like you need to work on the most physically?
physically, um, probably legs and back physically. Um, to me, that was the hardest for me, legs and back.
Yeah, I mean everybody has that one particular thing that need to work on to build, to grow. The back, I think, often I've been told the back can make a place how you do with a show.
It's
Like
so true.
I think one person that here sticks out is Teresa Vasic. You know,
Oh
her
my
back
gosh, I know who
just
you're talking about.
yeah, her back is just crazy. Sometimes she does
Hmm.
pretty. She has
Detailed.
yeah, great detail. I think she's still a little bit undersized in the legs. You know, that's the one thing is you're
Hmm.
not complete. You know,
That's right.
that can hurt you. Here we got my man, the art of female muscle, aka Jeremy. He comes on my podcast and says there was a WB I met at the Arnold 1 year that literally had a voice that was, you know, indistinguishable from a bullfrog. Yeah. I, I, yeah, I know some women. If you take to the street, you sound like Vin Diesel from the Fast and Furious. You know, like
Yes.
yeah, be a yard a mile, a win's a win. But that's the thing. I think if you're smart and know what you need, you can't say rip and shred it all. I know there's excuse me, Miss Rebecca, there's an old smoke saying, your ladies rock hard, we're rock hard. But that's but you know, you can't maintain that.
No, you
It's
can't.
yeah, because it's
I
something
mean,
for
I
competition.
mean, I freaked out the very first time I went to the nationals. I turned around and told my husband, I do not belong here. And because I'm looking at these women that are just absolutely humongous, and here I am, barely a little over 100 pounds, 101 or something like that. And I told my husband, I don't belong here. He says, you belong here. You're going to be in your own category. Don't worry about it, you know. But still, being in my own category, that was even tough, just because, you know, you're 40 and over, or 45 and over, or 50 and over. I mean, these women come in big, but I've been fortunate to come home with the trophy. No matter, I mean, I didn't always get first place, but I always got into the top five, and I was happy with that. Compared standing next to some of these women.
Yeah, I know one thing I often tell me like how it's one thing when you see y'all out on stage in public, y'all look bigger than
Yes,
than real life. But up close to y'all, some of these are small. Like I said, I've been to a bodybuilding show before, and it was a great experience. I hope maybe in the future I get to go again. I would love to because especially doing this content, I love to interact and talk to you ladies,
oh
get your
yes,
perspective. Here we got here a comment from my man Jeremy, the Art of Female Muscle podcast says another
mhm.
crazy back is Monique Jones. I will say yes. I love Monique Jones. She's just beautiful. And
She
Paula
is.
Suzuki back was insane. Paula Suzuki was just wow. She was just
Exactly. He's spot on that.
yeah, she just I know a young lady she kind of reminds me of her a bit. She's from Hong Kong, Paula was Hawaiian, but Paula's body was made. I remember one lady that was also she was a little bit maybe older than you, but she was probably one of the oldest women in bodybuilding. That was Krista Bach.
Ah,
Her body was just a great abs, shoulders. I mean, amazing body, but also like she was herself. She was married. She had two kids.
yes. I think I know who she is. I think I've seen her before.
Yeah, she's from Germany, and she just beautiful look to her, just wow. I remember she used to have a message board. I used to have her own website, said message board. Sometimes I make comments on it and she responded, I think she translated from German to English, or I think she might know a little English. I don't know. Yeah. Here we got here from a man, once again, my man Jeremy says, what's your thoughts on the new fit model division?
I can't think of I don't know what this fit model is about. I mean, and I don't mean to be rude, but I know there's something for everyone if they're in the gym working out, they're dieting, whatever. But I just don't know about that one. I'm a little mind blown about it.
Well,
What are we looking for? I need to what I don't even know what the criteria is yet. I haven't seen one, but when it comes here in Kansas City, I'm going to go and watch and see what it is.
well, I think it's just I think again it's supposed to be a throwback to the when bikini first started in the IFBB.
There
They
you
don't want
go.
to, not too much to bedazzle. Like I know I was talking lady I was talking, her name is Heather Ritz, and she turned she was bikini, but she did fit model this year. She's a fit model champion. And she was talking about how she didn't like the bikini because she loved to be dazzled because they just wanted something. Well, it's
Oh,
reasonable because one thing for y'all ladies, the cost
oh,
of competing. I talk about this. I know compared to the guys, all they gotta do is put on banana hammers and board shorts and it's hand.
you're
Y'all
right.
ladies, you have to have your hair, your makeup done. Back in the day, the suits were just like basic, nice cloth suits, nothing too fancy, but still
Exactly.
nice. But
Mm-hmm.
now, because you have to present this sort of a pageantry look with both the
Yes.
muscle and femininity. The suits are bedazzled. You have to have your jewelry, your hair, your makeup.
Right.
Then throw in the cost of tan, and then throw in the cost of travel to the shows and pay entrance fee. And you'd be in the Masters, where I remember when I found out where Masters have to pay to compete. I mean, you're a pro now. I mean, I'm saying
I
that's
know it.
being amateur, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes, it is ridiculous. One thing is I did do my own hair and makeup, but I know a lot of but you got to get spray tan professionally. And of course, my suits were all bedazzled and they're expensive as all get out. And, um, but I know a lot of women that they don't want to know how to put their makeup on, stage makeup. Since I was on stage for when I was a little girl, I knew how much makeup you need to put on. And your hair, I get it, so yeah, it's expensive, very expensive.
yeah, I mean that's the cost for women competing. And y'all right now, women make up the majority of the IBP and NPC as competitors compared to the men. But y'all just don't get the recognition you deserve. The money is not as good. You just saw Arnold. He's announcing that he's going to shoot up the prize money for the Arnold Schwarzenegger cracks to almost $750,000, where they don't have women's bodybuilding figure or physique at the show anymore, and it could possibly might push out fitness because the fit model division is coming in.
Yes, I'll be darned. I didn't even hear about that. I got to
Oh,
look some of that up.
I mean, there's been talk about this. I mean, recently, Linda Murray had talked about it, and people were talking about get off of it. Well, you got shows too, right? But the thing is, she can only do so much of what she got. Arnold,
Yes.
he has deep pockets. He has sponsor supporter. The Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, they don't. You have to pay for pay-per-view. It's free. I don't watch it because, like I said, you don't have the divisions that really interest me. You
Right.
have. I don't watch. I watch. This is my thing is I'm a fan of women's bodybuilding. I was
Yes.
too a fan of women's physique. I call it watered down women's bodybuilding, but I become fans because a lot of ladies have done interviews we talk with. I've even spanned to figure. Wellness, I'm getting there. Bikini, I probably would never get there. And fitness, as fit model, I say like hop, like the Iron Sheik used to do.
Yes, I know. I
Uh,
know.
Here we get here a comment. This is from my man Damon J. He says this. He says, "Who is this lovely lady?" Well, this is Mrs. Rebecca Woody. You saw the comment in the description. You know the name, brother. Why you have to ask? I'm just married. Also got here my man Josh. He says, "Brenda Ragnar has a nice back and physique. Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful
Yes.
physique.
And
Yeah. Also, we have here from my man Jeremy. He says, from all the years of experience, what is some core advice you would give to a younger competitors just starting out, both in terms of encouragement and uh, warnings?
yes, if they're young, I think that, they should try to be as natural as they can and eat good, find a good coach to help them with their eating. And I think, you know, it's a choice if they want to go and do some steroids or something to get them ready for a contest. It's a choice, but I really think teenagers should stay away from it. Let their own um, their own natural hormones get them wherever, because men, boys do have an advantage over women for a reason, and they're stronger. They can build more muscle. Um, Unless you're just kind of a little bit of a freaky woman that has a tendency to have less estrogen, a little bit more, male hormones. That's the way it goes sometimes. That's a natural thing that can happen.
Yeah, because women are different. Like when I lose weight, it doesn't take too long because I have that natural testosterone. With women, because y'all don't have that, you do have a little bit of it, but that's why
Right.
you need it because it's important for recovery and growth.
Exactly.
I think you got to find that balance. Here we got a comment from my man Jeremy. He says 450 going to one man at the Arnold, but 150 divided up among 18 women. Yeah, that's tough, brother. Also, he says, would Rebecca ever do the Masters Olympia? Well, she's retired, but if was it dealing with your because in Masters Olympia you have to do 40 plus to get to the
Yes.
Masters Olympia.
That's the bad thing. And here's the deal, which I've never understood. My husband hasn't either. I will do both of them, women's physique and bodybuilding. Guess what? I always placed higher in bodybuilding. I could never figure that out. Neither could my husband. And he said, but it does depend on who you're standing in. He goes, very few cross over into both. And he said, you do both. Because I just didn't know where in the hell I stood some of the time. And I would do both, but I always seemed to do better in bodybuilding than women's physique. I couldn't understand it.
Well, I think it's just the aesthetics are so different between the divisions, but there's so much alike. I know a lady who I interviewed a while back. She competed also at the Masters Championships, and she did the Masters Olympia before that. The lovely Mrs. Robin Mays. She's now qualified for her first Olympia, and she did both wins by the in physique that year at the Masters World Championships. And she has a great look to her. I mean, especially for her age. I think she's going to be 60 next year, and at 59, she won her first Olympic qualification. Often I hear like some women, you start hitting your peak like closer in your 40s and 50s compared to when you're in your 30s and your 20s.
Yes, that's exactly right. You're right.
Yeah. So we have your comment for my man. This is from my man. KL says Rebecca, looking at you reminds me of Rita
Rita
Moreno.
Moreno. Well, yes. When I had coal black hair, I was always told that by strangers on the street. Yes. And especially when I was on stage dancing, to any musical. Oh, yeah. And everyone would say, you look like, remind me of Rita Moreno. I used to get that all the time. Thank him for that. That made me feel good.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw her. She used to be on not Sesame Street, Electric Company.
Yes, she
Yeah,
was.
her and Morgan Freeman and Bill Cosby used to love watching the
Yes.
show. But even
Yes.
though, you still look as you may be old with time, but you look still fine like wine. Yeah, this is a lady, fellas. So when you talk, you say you talk to a lady, say, "Excuse me, miss, is your husband married?" So.
You were saying something like these men better not be giving you dick pics. I get them all the time. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass. I'm telling you, this is.
I'm
It's just
telling.
his thing is. I'm gonna tell you my crime, Mrs. Rebecca. I am a muscle person. I just love y'all buff muscular women. Y'all excite me. But doing this content, I learned to respect y'all ladies as y'all still
Yeah.
women. I know some guys out there.
Your
Yes,
mama
guys.
taught you right.
Yes, ma'am. She taught me well. She had to raise 3 boys, 3 girls, and she had to taught us how. One thing is she taught us how to be adult, but I had to learn to be men from other men.
Yes.
But the thing is that many times ladies told me this because there is a fetish to it, to women with
Yes.
muscle, because the everyday person may not find it attractive. There's guys might say, she's too buff. I don't like that. She's trying to be a man, yada, yada, yada. And,
Yeah.
and then I know your kids coming up and saying, hey, it's that, what's face's mom? She's looking, and I don't know, say, hey, my mom kick your ass. But but then there's that flip side. There's those guys like they get a little excited,
Yes.
and sometimes guys are like one thing guys will come in the comments and say, tell the flex. I'm not gonna ask the flex. You don't need a flex. It's cool. I mean, but, and then sometimes ladies would do it, because if you do it willingly and you want to do it, that's cool. And I say, guys, calm down, put away your
Yeah.
lotion and your tissue, you're good. But
Yes.
I think
You're
it's just
right.
something about it. It's just something different, different aspect of
Absolutely.
seeing a female, especially going muscle.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a comment from my man Art. He says this. He says, "What was your absolute favorite show that you competed in, both as an amateur and as a pro?"
Mm. Well, there was a lot of NPC shows here in Kansas City, and I think the one I did, which made me earn the right to go to the nationals, was 1991, and then going to um, going to the nationals and then getting your pro card. That was a thrill for me. I think that day I actually looked my best versus the following year when I actually did a pro show. I think that was my absolute peak for my age at 73, and so um, I liked that look. Not that I was upset with the way I looked when I got my pro card. I just noticed that there was a difference. Between 73 and when I got my pro card, I had two ankle operations. And how I got on stage, um, you know, my coach helped me a lot. He really did.
Y'all still, you and his coach are still in good contact. Y'all still
Yes, I
talk.
see him every time I go to the gym, just about. Hmm.
Yeah, that's good that that you found this sport and you found your love for it in the process of it. Being on the stage at the table with the judges, understand of it. All the aspects of it, because most people don't understand it because it's something different to them. I
Yes,
remember, you used to remember Bible used to be on television. You used to catch it on network television back in the day. Now you barely see. I mean, you hear one thing, you'll see cornhole and throwing darts on television
there
over
you go.
bodybuilding. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just, I think one thing, I think people are not used to the stream of it. That's why they're pushing this fit model division, because they want to get more attention to it. As my man Jeremy, he also was doing a podcast where one lady, she's IB posted that it's a basic bitch division, but you know what? You still have to train. You still have to work. You still have to put in the time. Like especially with your diet. Like, what was those things that when you're training, you're on your diet, the things that you love, that you wanted the most, that thing that was calling you, that's craving you. You got
Fried chicken. Oh my God, fried chicken and some gravy. I used to go out with my husband and I would get, fish. If it was a time where I can, you know, go out with him early in my diet plan, I would have the salmon with the salad and he's over there eating fried chicken with gravy. I didn't crave cookies or cakes or anything like that. Um, it was the real food that I wanted. And guess what? I used to cook separate for my kids. I never denied them, tamales, tacos, Mexican food, Italian food, lasagna. I would bake them cakes and pies, whatever they wanted, I would do, and I wouldn't eat it. I had tunnel vision. And I always think, okay, that cookie's going to go on your ass, so you don't want to even eat it. you know. Um,
I can
so,
say I can say quite a few cookies and cakes can get on my ass. My mom used to cook pretty good. Beans and fried chicken, potatoes, and
oh,
I mean, I miss. That's what I miss
I
most of
bet you
all.
do miss that. Hmm.
Yeah, my sister, she cooks pretty good. Every now and then I might go over her house and eat something. I think she might have something on 4th of July. I might go over there. But it's not the
Oh,
same compared to mom.
stay
We have,
close. Yeah.
yeah, we have here. My man Damon J says, "What's Rebecca? That's crazy. So many perverted people. I need to get on them about that." Appreciate that, brother. And also, he says, "This is a yes, Rebecca. You are a beautiful lady." And
Oh.
to quote the other guy, he says, "Yeah, you are beautiful." Like I said, you know what? You know, I think there's a lot of amazing women in this sport, and that's why I do this channel to give y'all opportunity to share your story, what got you into the sport, and again, understand that there's so much more involved to it. To being consistent, to being persistent, being focused. Like I said, you were raising kids and still letting them enjoy, being kids, and also competing. And now, now you have found your peace with life. I'm not like sorry, I'm not she died, but now I'm saying that now you are not in the sport anymore, but you still enjoy the benefits from it and the friendships you
Exactly.
have gained over years.
Exactly, I have, and I like sports. I was an A division racquetball player. Um, I love to play racquetball. As a matter of fact, being in Kansas City, I remember playing racquetball. My husband wanted a break from it, and so there were some gentlemen that because the racquetball you're down below and you're up there in the building, and some men were watching me, and my husband hollered at them and said. The couple of guys want to come down and play you. So I'm playing racquetball with these humongous men. Did I know who they were? No, I found out later after playing with them that they were Chiefs players, Kansas City Chief players that played racquetball in the summertime. And I didn't know who they were. I can't remember them, but if I was to ask my husband, he would remember their names. But that goes way back in the 90s. He said you were playing racquetball with Chiefs players. They were taking turns just wanting to play.
Yeah,
Humongous men.
I got a friend. He used to play in the NFL. He sometimes we did the podcast together. His name is Big Keith Williams. He's from Lawrence, Kansas, and he's an IFB pro. He's competing, I think, coming up in a couple of weeks at Chicago Pro. Both of his wife Tina, is IFB pro women's bodybuilder. This is Tina. She
Oh,
competed last
amazing.
year, and she's like 5'10", and she's really has grown. She used to work. Her coach is Melody Specco. I had a
Are
pleasure.
you kidding me?
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
pleasure. I had a pleasure interviewing Melanie last year, and she's been going through some stuff, but she's now getting back now, with the both Keith and Tina, and she's really bringing the best out of them.
awesome. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Really is.
amazing. Yeah, we have your comment from my man Damon J says all women need to be respected and treated with reverence, not just women with muscle, but women in general. Yes,
That is
treat
so true.
treat them like you want to be treated. You should treat them right. And here he says, George, you had a mentioned fit model that abomination for division. Well, that's the thing is here's we say like this. It's about trying to get attention and making money for the NPC IFBB.
That's so true. It's making more money.
And the thing is, this is my fear of it. I feel like it could push out divisions like women's body and physique because
Yes.
cut down especially I think one lady was doing a show where they cut the time for her. They didn't have a fit model yet, but I think it was because something else was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't see like usually posing with like 2 minutes or so. I mean, there's a video of Corey Everson posing at the Olympia. I think it was
Yes.
86, beautiful posing. But now you only got like a minute, and then once this division comes
Right.
in, and a lot of shows do pro am now. And once this division comes in, because you're gonna have promoters, they gotta want to make their money, and this is something that can bring money for their
Right.
pockets.
You're right. Exactly right. I think it used to start out 90 seconds of music, and then they changed it to a minute. Mm-hmm.
Because it's part of how the sport is changing and evolving. And again, how even the competitors are evolving, where you look at someone like Andrea Shaw, and she's not too far from someone like Natalia Correjo. You look at someone like Jessica Reyes Padilla, she's not too far from someone like whoever's the top women's competitor or physique competitor. Um, I think the men are allowed to go as far as they want to go because hey,
Yes.
it's the men. But the women you have to try to put in this little box. It's hard to stay in that box after a while. That's why I'm concerned about the fit model division because it's not going to stay in that box after a while. But like I said again, it's up to the people up there, like guys like Jim Mannion and his grandson. He's still wet by the years, breast like Similac. I don't know what but
I
it's
get it.
yeah, it's just like as a fan of this sport and a fan of y'all ladies, I just wish there was more for y'all. Like especially, you know, like we go to the shows, like you go to the shows, you see them live. We see these beautiful bodies, these built muscle physiques, but understand that the diet you have to go through, the hungry you have, the dehydration you got to go through, and I know your husband and your kids and grandkids say, "Hey, that's our grandma," but then there's the
Yes.
perfect guy say, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind her sucking me in bed," but your husband say, "Hey, hey, hey, hey,"
Yes. Mhm.
but I think like any athlete, y'all deserve recognition and respect y'all do because y'all put in this time, you put in the work, make a lot of sacrifices. I know there's times where you would rather have more time with your husband and your kids and your grandkids,
It's true.
but this is a passion sport.
It is. You're right. Absolutely. And it does takes your time away. You have to balance. And boy, did I do a lot of balancing, especially having an 8-hour job and then coming home with my kids, making sure that they had their meals. And mine were separate. They didn't want to eat what I was eating, so I had to change it up. A lot of people couldn't figure out how I could do it. When you have tunnel vision, you have a true goal and a desire, you'll get it done no matter what.
So basically, you had a plan, but my other guy says, I don't have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars. If I get one, I don't know what to do with it. And I just, like I said,
This
I'm
kills me
just,
when you do
yeah, yeah. But
that.
it's like I said, it's about finding a process to this, understanding the process,
Exactly.
and working hard to get to where you want to go. Because most people wouldn't want to do this, wouldn't want
Yes.
to like say try to eat clean and healthy. I know food is a temptation. I think I can tell you of that, man. It's tempting, but we understand what's involved with it and what you want to go. I know, like I said again, you work 8 hour job, and I wish with like more opportunities financially for y'all ladies, so like sponsorship. I know
Yes.
that's the thing. That's the hard part about finding people who want to pay and take care of your costs of travel and everything like that, and your coaches costs and all those expenses. But ladies tell me, say, George, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have here coming from my man Damon J. He says this. He says, "Oh, I thought Tina was 5'7". Didn't know she was 5'10". That's like Brittany Parrish height, and she's known as the real Wonder Woman. Yeah, I interviewed Brittany. And she turned
That's right.
pro a couple of years ago. I think she's planning on doing a show in Romania, and we were talking on the phone that Amanda's planning on doing a show, and I think she said she's like 20 weeks out. I believe it might
Yes.
be. Yeah, I think there's a couple of shows out west. There's a show called the Steve Carr Show. That's Las Vegas, and also the show that Tina competed at last year, which is the Grand Prix in Anaheim. There was going to be a show in Texas, but they dropped women's bodybuilding, and then there was going to have women's bodybuilding at Tampa, but I gotta say his name. The man who say wins bodybuilding, Jake Wood. I got to when anytime I say his name, I got yo Jake.
Yes.
I want that money. I want that gun. It's my Denzel for training day.
Mhm.
And you know what? It's good that he stepped in. I know he's pulling back from because they don't do the ambassador program anymore, and now the Rising Phoenix has changed their open show. But as long as there is opportunity for y'all ladies to compete, a place to go, take advantage of it.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, folks, we're not going to hold the lovely Mrs. Woody too long. She is a lovely lady, taking a talk with me, and I appreciate what she's been through and what she has done in a career, being a woman, especially being a Latina, especially I know I talk to ladies who are from countries like Mexico and South
Yes.
America because it's not very traditional. Like I know ladies coming from places like in other countries where it's not very traditional for a woman to be muscular and built, but
Hmm.
and also being a mom and raising children and finding the sport. I mean, what would you say to somebody who wants to get into sport? And what would you, if you ever had a chance to come back, what would you like to do?
If I ever had a chance to come back, I probably would stick with bodybuilding and women's physique if I had the chance to come back. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it, and I thought, I always had a slightly athletic body. I was athletic when I was young, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go down and just work out with my brothers, see where it took me. It took me mentally more than physically. Physically, I didn't really change that much for the time that he was there. But I started to change once I went to the gym, and there were good men there that would help me. Here, let me show you how to do this, show you how to do that. And you're doing it the wrong way. You're going to hurt yourself if you do it this way. And I was taught by some very kind, patient young men. So I think if you do it, you have to be prepared to if you hold a job, you have to have that 8 hours there. If you have kids, you got to work with them, um, keeping your house clean, keeping their clothes clean. Um, you have to balance so much unless you have a husband that's willing to share that with you, which I was lucky to have that.
Yeah, I know some ladies that told me that it's hard to be both a bodybuilder, be a woman, be a mother, be a wife. I know some ladies told me that even because they got into bodybuilding, it changed the relationship, that they even broke up, they got divorced. Ladies I've talked to that they got into the sport because they were dealing with issues like you just heard recently a lady who passed away. She was killed by her husband, Amy Menendez. This sport, I think, has saved lives, and even it might have ended lives in some ways, but if you understand the factors that's involved in it, and you also be careful and cautious. One thing is I think everyday person should educate yourself a little more about bodybuilding. It's not like I
Yes,
said again. It's not just a bunch of people popping steroids and just getting big and all that.
yes.
There are so much to it: the diet, the consistency, the training, the working out. Like what was your favorite? What's your favorite training? You want part of like to train when you hate to train?
The one I love to train, what I like to do, I like to leg press and I like to squat. I still love that the most.
So you like leg day? You're a freak.
Yeah, I like the leg day. I want to tell you one more thing. My children went to a Catholic school, okay? And Catholic schools, they had the nuns there and they had some lay teachers, but they didn't have anyone to help with coaching a lot. So I volunteered a lot. There were a lot of volunteered parents for different grades to coach baseball, soccer, volleyball. Well, here I am, since I knew how to play soccer and I love volleyball. I'm over there coaching these girls or these boys at Catholic schools, just so they have the opportunity to play against other Catholic schools, all while I was doing my going to work and doing other things. I mean, keeping the house clean and feeding my kids, feeding myself. I look back at it. I don't know how I did it, because maybe I'm looking back at it because I'm now 76. How could I have done all that? But you have a lot of energy when you're younger. When you have kids, they keep you going. I didn't want to deny my kids anything. And just because I was doing what I was doing. But I do want to tell you one more thing. My daughter, my only daughter, Janae, she wanted to see what competition was like. And she was living in Texas at the time. And she followed my diet plan. She kind of knew more or less what bikini women do. I had her do bikini. I was so proud of her. She said um, she now understood what I went through. And she only did it once, but she said that was the hardest thing for me to do while I had two children.
Well, women like yourself were built different compared to my parents were sharecroppers. They worked, in the lands and they had to work on other people's farms, be out there in the sun down, the sun up.
Oh, God,
I
yeah.
yeah, I worked too, but I did a little bit when I was younger, but I didn't have to do much because they did it before me. And I had to hold two jobs. One of my first jobs was I used to work at a gas station until I was 16, till that place closed down. I worked in textiles. I worked at strip club, when I was yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. Guys be saying, "Hey, George, you're working around those girls." Hey, it's not always gonna be um,
Mhm.
sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes
That's
ladies,
right.
yeah. But I think if you want something bad enough, if you want it more than anything in life, you can make a way. All I'm say is like this: you just 25 hours. There's 24 hours in a day. You can
Yes.
find and make a way, to do what you want to do. Training, to eat, the diet, to help your kids at school, to help out people with their training.
Yes.
It's possible. You just gotta have to be determined and you have to be persistent. You just can't be lazy. Shout out to my man Damon J. He has this comment that says Tyler Mannion and Jerry Mannion make their money with bikini and wellness divisions to they give them all the attention. Unfortunately, yeah, that's true. Also, he
You're
says
right.
this. He says, Calamania bears a resemblance to the Jub Bros, Jonathan and Dave Drew Scott from the Property
Copy.
TV show, Property Brothers. Yeah, I remember you used to watch that show.
I
And
remember.
also,
Yeah.
this is my man Lawrence Perkins coming through. He says, "Hello, Rebecca Woody and George and everyone." Yeah, Lawrence coming in a little late, brother. You just about to end the scene of the crime. But I do appreciate when I get opportunity to talk to ladies like yourself, who's been in this game as long as you have, understands it, who has the passion for it, because I get to learn each day. I get to learn from my conversations. That's why I do this channel. That's why I reach out to you. Because, like I said, again, my mom passed. I needed something because I took care of her for a long time. That was my woman. You have
Yes.
two sons. A boy's best friend is his mother. You are a woman.
Yes.
Wives come and go. And one of the only person that can probably feel the heart of our mother probably is our children. I don't have
Yes.
any. But I doing this and this content and talk about your ladies and share your stories and hearing what got you in sport, and I learned some things, and I just really appreciate this opportunities when I get them.
Yes, I so appreciate you contacting me. It was fun, very much, and it was fun for me to go back, way back in my mind and share it with you.
Well, thank you, man. As a fan of y'all ladies, I appreciate when I get to talk to people like yourself, like Nancy Lewis, Sue Price, a lady who I was good friends with, Wanda Lee, Charisma. She passed away. Great
Oh,
lady, a legend herself. I mean, talk to legends, talk to up and comers, the ones who did it, who's done it, who are doing it. It's just for me as a fan, it's a great opportunity. And I know my crime again. I must very small. I get you, LA's get me excited, but I still see y'all as women who have a passion for a sport that's maybe not the everyday sport as everybody else, in their mindset, but it is a
right.
sport. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, ma'am, do you have anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Just want to shout out to you, thanking you for reaching out to me, Amanda, and my husband Steve. Um, that's my shout outs.
Well,
Oh, and my yeah, and of course Jason May, my coach. He's still a lovely man.
oh, so you're a lovely man, Jason. That's the. I bet he's party too.
And he's married to a woman that's my size, and he's
Ah.
humongous. Yes.
It's always it's always the big dudes that get the little girls. Here we got one more from my man Jaden
Okay.
J. Thank you for singing. Here, brother says, nice meeting you, Rebecca. I got to go. You are a sweet, real, classy lady, baby. Hey, I'm telling you like this. I'll tell you
That's
something.
nice of him. That's sweet.
When I get these girls in like you in here, these guys get excited. I tell you, they say, George, who's that girl George talking to? She fine as a motherfucker. So, yeah,
Thank you
but
so much, George.
like I said, the quote one of my favorite movies, Dark Knight Begins. At the end of
Yeah.
it, when Gary Oldman playing as Jim Gordon says to Batman, says, "I never get a chance to thank you," and he turned around and says, "You don't ever have to." That's why my channel's
Oh,
here. I love that.
yes.
I love the whole Batman trilogy. I just,
I do too.
Christian Bale is my favorite Batman. Next to I put
Oh,
him up there.
I love him.
Yeah, I put him up there with Adam West. Can't forget the late Kevin Conroy, Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday.
Yes.
That's
That's an awesome
I'll be
one.
your Huckleberry John Ringo.
I love that T-shirt.
I got another one. He says, "I'll be your Huckleberry." You know, I just Tombstone. I used to watch that movie to death. Kurt Russell, better
um,
writer than Kevin Costner. He just like he said.
oh,
I got a picture here where let me pull it up. It's somewhere here where I got it in my thing where it's you know
mm,
it's all them Doc, Morgan, Virgil.
oh
You
my
know,
gosh.
I
That's awesome.
yeah, I sometimes I put that up doing like sometimes me and some other guys we come together. We call ourselves we're like Tombstone. Since I'm from the South, I'm Doc Holliday. My man Keith, he's from Kansas, because that's where originally where
Oh, yes.
Wyatt was sheriff, and I call him Wyatt. My man KL, I call him Morgan, And my man,
Oh.
Jeremy, I call him. He's Virgil. He's the oldest of us, so he has to be Virgil. So, but as you know, I'm Doc. So,
Yeah.
but folks, I enjoyed the opportunity to talk to the lovely lady right here. She is a legend, and she's respected. Folks, instead of if you're interested in reaching out to her, like I said, she's not competing anymore, but she is maybe helping it, maybe thinking about coaching, training, also maybe some advice. If you're genuinely interested in it and you want to help you in your process, not just bodybuilding, but to me, fitness and wellness, reach out with genuine interest. Don't be the weird guy. I told you again. If I find one, I'm I'd be like your brother. I'd be like Rocky Balboa. Like But
I
again,
thank
man,
you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
she called me sweetheart. I feel so special. I feel like a little baby. Yeah. I don't see, that's she's a lady. She call you sweetheart. Most women don't want to call you sweetheart. They want to call you buddy or boy. Hell no, I'm not your buddy. I'm not your
Well, I
buddy.
got your number, so I'm going to text you now and then.
All righty, I got yours too. So, folks, I like to thank my guest right here, my man KL, the Wanderer, my man, Jeremy from the female bodybuilding fan. Also, Mina, I think Mina was there. Nicole. Also, can't forget Damon J, Joshua. All you who are watching this live, follow her link in the description of this live stream. Support women in bodybuilding and show respect. Okay.
That's right.
Anyway, folks, tomorrow it's gonna be a short week.
That's right. Absolutely. And go Chiefs.
Yeah, go Chiefs. So, folks, this is Mel Away Joy Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't subscribe. I'm out. Good night, good luck, and God bless.
God bless you, hon.
You too, ma'am.